What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Jawn podcast. I'm your man P.
It's your boy Mills.
What's going on?
What's happening, bro?
I know they probably looking at like, yo, what's up with the new digs?
Listen, I put in the show notes from last week. I had a little surprise. You know what I mean?
This is a hell of a surprise.
For sure.
But listen, today is a special episode. This is our Bear Review Season 2.
Yes, sir.
A lot of spoilers, like we told you guys.
We gave y'all 2 weeks, man.
If you ain't watch it yet, then hey, listen, that's on you.
Listen,
but listen, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I just finished it last night, so I don't want y'all to think that I've been sitting on this. But it's been worth it. It was worth it. It was worth me staying up till 1:30 this morning.
I had to refresh. It was a couple things I wanted to like rewatch,
right,
just to make sure I got it down pat because we got to unpack it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What you think overall? What you grade it?
Overall, on a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 10, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Damn,
I give it a 10 because they came how they were supposed to. Season 1, nobody really knew what to expect. It was a new show. People didn't know if it was going to flop or be successful, but it was mad successful. The hype and anticipation around season 2 chose to be well worth the wait because they got so in depth with so many different things.
For sure.
The character development was outstanding. And my dark horse favorite character from this season is Claire.
Sister, who's Claire?
Carmi's friend. That's not his girlfriend. God. That's a friend.
I hated that part of the season, but I'll expound on that later.
She was my favorite person because his life is so chaotic, and she was able. And you know, us being a part of this industry, we know how chaotic it can be. Mm-hmm. And she was that little glimmer of sunshine in his constant thunderstorm. And she brought some normalcy to him because Carmi is a psychopath.
That's an understatement.
So the fact that, he was vulnerable enough to kind of let her into his world, and also because he felt like before he kind of fumbled the ball with her when they was trying to put him on back in the day.
It wasn't really a fumble though.
It was a fumble in a sense of, listen, she's a great girl. You know she's a great girl. She's digging you. You back. We don't know how long, but you back. See what's up. And he was like, nah, I'm out.
Man. All right, I got you.
I mean, you miss 1,000% of the shots you don't take.
I agree. That wasn't. I'm in Copenhagen and I'm in California. What I need a girl in Chicago for?
I mean, yeah, true. Plus, at that time, he really didn't want to be there.
So I'm gonna get a girl here.
Yeah, speaking of Copenhagen, I love what they did for Marcus.
Oh man,
I loved it.
But I got you. We're gonna touch on it. But I give it a 7
out of 10.
Out of 10. Hear me out.
All right.
0 to The Wire. Wire's 10 out of 10. A 7 ain't bad. It's close.
No, 7 ain't bad.
There's a couple things I wish they would have did different, like the Claire thing. Just from a timing perspective, you can't convince me that he fell in love with Shorty in 90 days and blew it.
I'm surprised they made 90 days.
It might not even been 90 days. Probably was like 6 weeks. I'm just based off the schedule and the framework of opening a restaurant. Right. Like when they reconnected, I'm like, I don't know. The Claire thing I ain't particularly care for. And the Sydney and Marcus thing, they kind of just
forced it.
They forced the ending. It was how they gradually did it through the 2 seasons,
right?
And then they just smashed it all into one episode. Like they put it together and then broke it apart. They could have like prolonged that a little bit.
I got you.
But other than that, oh man, it's phenomenal. Phenomenal. Jamie Lee Curtis stole the show.
Yeah.
Every time she was on the screen, even outside the restaurant. Heavy spoilers. When she was outside the restaurant talking to Pete, and she was like, "Do this for me."
Right.
Do this for me. He was like, but do this for me. She said the same thing 8 times, 8 different ways, and it hit every single time.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right. Listen, when you're right, you're right. Yeah. But she's a seasoned vet. So
she needs
that type
Emmy.
Of stuff, you expect that from her.
She needs an Emmy for that. But
I agree.
Who's your most improved?
Richie.
You gave it to Richie?
Richie, without a shadow of a doubt. that one episode.
Because he finally grew up?
Yes. He was forced to. And I don't think Carmi threw him that crazy oop. Richie thought that he was just trying to get rid of him, but then he allowed himself to see the bigger picture and he allowed himself to grow. And seeing all of the behind the scenes of how that restaurant in particular works,
oh my God,
it gave me a headache.
I missed those
watching
days.
it. I'm not gonna lie, like I really had a headache
I
watching it because I said, if this is how it is day to day, today, y'all can keep that. It was chaos, but it was organized chaos. And the fact that he was willing to learn after he got over the Forks thing, when homie pulled him outside and told him, I love this shit and you gotta love it. And there's no disrespect if you don't, but respect the people that do. It's like, wow.
Yo, listen, I miss working in that. And it's insane and it's tedious and it's tasking, but the gift at the end, like when he dropped the hibiscus cloud in the tea.
Yeah.
And Richie's like, holy fuck.
Yeah, language.
Listen, it's like it's a different experience when they bought the pizza to give to them.
When he deconstructed that pizza the way he did and turned it into that masterpiece. It's
I'm telling you, yo.
Okay. All right.
All culinary is a puzzle. Now, 2 key points. As I was refreshing and watching this last night, 2 key points. First off, dap me up. Let me tell you why. Every single thing we've been talking about on this very podcast since last November. So we had 7 months, 8 months, something like that.
Yeah.
Every single thing showed up on that show. They listening. What Shorty have on her jacket at the end? Sydney. She kept taking it off, put on a new one. Taking it off, put on a new one.
Oh man, don't put me on the spot like that.
Fucking tomatoes.
Oh yeah.
Tomato stains. When I said, yo, we're kind of like the hospital, like we have this weird dichotomy where we're kind of like similar to nurses and doctors.
Right. What
happened?
All right, yeah, you got a point.
It's hospitality.
Yeah.
You know? Bro, everything, our relationship conversation. We need a check or an appearance in season 3.
Listen, I would love that.
For sure. What?
Listen, I'm telling you, I told you before, I'll be the bull panhandling out in front of the store. So just get me on the screen.
Anything. Bro, when I sat back, I'm watching, I'm like, wait, they really touched on everything. Like everything. So either they was listening or they really got some chefs that's like telling them what to actually put. Like, this makes sense, this won't make sense. Like, this is how it's gonna work, this is not how it's gonna work.
Right.
Everything. I was flabbergasted.
The uniforms and the aprons at the end, they were on point.
Fire.
The Bear Johns.
Fire.
And then when Sydney had the
Tom Brown.
Yeah.
Yo, listen, I saw that. I was like, wait, Tom Brown made chef jackets? And then it was like,
for them, he does.
For them, yo, oh my God. He cracked that, he put the box on the table. I said, no fucking way.
Yeah.
No fucking way.
You told me it was coming. And I was, after we had that conversation, I was looking for it. And then when I finally saw it, I said, okay. This is what he was talking about.
Fire.
Yeah.
So.
Ebron pissed me off too.
Who?
Ebron.
Oh, because he quit?
Because he quit. He pissed me off.
See, now that was another thing I ain't like. What, y'all didn't have to, y'all just showed him not showing up. You showed him at the park smoking a cigar, and then he came back.
Yeah, like his character development sucked because out of 10 episodes, he might have been in like 3.5, maybe 4.
They could have played that better instead of just kind of like.
It could have been, they could have delved into why he quit versus him and Tina having that bullshit conversation at the window. She called him a bitch like 20 times.
Yeah.
She definitely called him a bitch. He had to take it too.
What can you do?
Yeah,
but even then, even if you wanted to say like he quit, all right, cool. You could just say, hey, listen, this is why I quit.
Right.
Or you could have just touched on the fact that his arthritis, because he kept rubbing his hands the whole time. Even when he stayed like to cut that stuff when they was in culinary school. You could have played on that. I just kind of rushed it a little bit. And they got 2 extra episodes this season.
Yeah.
So you had, it wasn't like.
They had the space.
You had the space.
Yeah.
And then another thing about the season, everybody had redemption except for Carmi. Did you notice that?
Yeah. I think they felt like him being the lead guy, him being who he is, he didn't need redemption. But after the Fishes episode, and he started to open up more, talk about his anxiety and his panic attacks and how fucked up his family was and this and that, and kind of giving people an insight to his mental and why he is the way he is. It's like, okay, you know what? They're doing great character development with him. They're making him more personable, him opening up. And in season 3, the way season 2 ended, especially with him being locked in the box,
oh man,
it's like, okay,
hilarious.
Is this symbolically him locked in his food prison?
Mm-hmm.
I
took the same thing. Because it's like, it is a chaotic industry, and the people who are really in it, the way Carmi was, the way I was at one point, I kind of removed myself from that.
You did remove yourself from
for sure. Yeah, bro. I was dying.
You was getting burnt out.
But that food prison of just like, you can't think about anything else.
Right.
And it was so poignant when he was in there and he didn't know he was talking to Claire. He was like, I don't need excitement and enjoyment, and I don't give excitement and enjoyment. That was a bar. Because it's like, I'm not deserving and nobody is deserving.
Right. Like, this is all I need. This is who I am. I'm not going to change. It is what it is. And then she realized in that moment, am I really wasting my time?
For sure. And then he listened to that voicemail, boy. I was like, you're an asshole.
The ice on the cake, like we said, though, the ice on the cake was when Richie called him Donna.
And yo, that would talk about a temper tantrum.
Yo. Because it was almost like, I'm fucking you up as soon as this door opens.
But we all know Richie would kick his ass. And then 2, he needs his ass kicked.
No, you're right. And I think Richie definitely would kick his ass, because Richie, as mature as he allowed himself to be, especially with the suits and this and everything else, he's still harboring the resentment of Tiff finally moving on.
I don't think so. In the beginning, yeah.
It hurt him.
It hurt him bad.
And I think it helped him grow, though.
Listen, that place he worked at helped him grow, because in the beginning, remember, he was like, I've been reading and I've been trying to find purpose.
Yeah.
Fast forward to when he found out Shorty was getting remarried, and then he works at the restaurant and he found purpose. Like, even the little thing where he, like, when Sydney had the little marker and he was like, the colors were messed up and he went to go fix it. When they interviewed Shorty, he was like, I turned the napkin on purpose. Like, he found his purpose. So now he could really flex on Carmi. That's why he felt like so, like, daring to say the Donna shit. Because it's like, yeah, bro, you tripping. You talk about me. I finally figured it out. When you gonna grow up?
Exactly.
And then shout out Robert Townsend. Meteor Man popped up.
Yeah.
See, that was, crowd was like, wait, is that Meteor Man?
I said the same thing last night. I said they got Meteor Man in this joint.
Yo, listen, he killed as her pop. She blew him away. He didn't
believe in her.
He didn't believe.
He didn't. But I'm not gonna say he didn't believe in her. He didn't believe in the culinary industry, because he saw what it was doing to her, and he wanted her to have a sense of normalcy. Like, just get a regular job. Get a regular job,
work
regular
at Boeing.
pay. You get paid every 2 weeks on time like you're supposed to. You're not killing yourself working 1,000,000 hours, and you'll get a 401k, blah 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 blah. You'll be all right. But that's not her dream. And when he realized finally she's okay, it's like, all right, I get it now.
Yo, listen, another thing we talked about on the unhealthy episode. How do you explain what we do to somebody who just, like, has no clue? And it wasn't until he sat through all 9 courses and was like, holy shit, this is the Sistine Chapel. This is the Mona Lisa. This is like art. And Tina,
she came up big this season. Huge. She's Sue now.
For sure.
and
graduated culinary school.
when they were getting ready to open, and he gave the reins to Sydney, said, "This is your ship now."
Mm-hmm.
That was huge.
She was like,
because that was him relinquishing control and just letting her know in that moment, you're validated. I see you. Everything that you've worked for got you to this exact moment right here.
And even Tina brought up, she was like, well, Carmi's not the CDC, well, chef de cuisine. She was like, well, since you're moving up, like, what about a Sue? And she was like, well, I'm asking you. And she was like, well, I don't know anybody. He didn't even register that she
was
could
like, no,
do it.
I'm asking you. That's why she hugged her the way she did.
Yeah.
Because she said in her mind, I finally got my moment. Like, this is my moment.
And she was killing.
No, she was. She was. Tina came up huge this season.
Character development award goes to Tina because she was a fucking asshole through season one.
Call a spade a spade. She was a bitch.
You said it.
She was a bitch.
You said it. She was a horrible person.
That was her character. I mean, listen, not in real life.
Oh yeah,
not even in real life. No, but she was a bitch. Mm-hmm. They had her be Queen Bee, and she also had to realize that this is non-conducive to a healthy career/work relationship with these people that I spend majority of my time with.
For sure. But I don't even think she thought about it that way in the beginning. Not even as like she can be better than what she already was until
she didn't think about it until Sydney gave her the comment, the compliment with the mashed potatoes. Because remember, she said, "Go ahead, tell me their shit." She said, "No, they're really good." Mm-hmm. And that fucked her up because she wasn't expecting it because she wouldn't have done that.
And then look at her now.
Look at her now. Look at her the fuck now.
Funniest moment of the season. What's yours? I think we're on the same page, but
we're on this. All right, we're in the same book.
Okay.
Now, there is no funniest moment for me, but every time my man that was doing the renovations, every time he was on the screen, it was comedic gold.
His brother came
at the dinner.
Just in general, anytime the brother was on this Theodore Fack, anytime they was on the screen together, I was like, oh yeah, I'm about to laugh now.
They kind of remind me of Jay and Silent Bob.
Yes.
That's exactly who they reminded me of.
Oh my goodness. And then
but he was at the end, when he finally realized it, when Ibrahim hung the picture, the way he looked at it, when he said Jewish lightning, and everybody was like, you can't say that. But when he finally figured it out.
Oh, about the gas?
Had the conversation with Richie, and Richie said, go ahead, do your thing. When they had the fire suppression test, they wouldn't have passed if it wasn't for that moment of clarity that he had.
True. I mean, the thing, like, even the thing with Fact season 1, and even now, he's Mr. Fix-It.
Always.
But they never really trusted him, though. And that was they trust with the fire suppression test, just because you're no longer like patching, putting tape over things. Now you really know how to fix things.
Yeah.
So even his progression, I thought he was going to go completely different. I thought he was going to be in the kitchen, but
I kind of figured that they were going to keep him where he was in the show because he was so good at it. And even though he actually can burn in real life in the kitchen,
for sure,
that's not the role that they needed from him. We need you to be this guy. And maybe in season 3, when it comes back, they'll kind of let him showcase on the show what he can do. And it's like, well, why didn't you never tell us? And it's like,
well, they touched on it in season 1 when that
never really asked.
They touched on it in season 1 when that whole printer debacle happened when Sydney quit, because he was like, you got to go get back there and help. So that's why I thought they was going to like lean into it a little bit. I liked the little swerve that they did, put him in a suit, and then
I like the swerve because him and the other gentleman,
Gary,
they were both in suits. Richie was in a suit. And I love how they wouldn't talk on the floor. They would just pass notes to each other.
Slick. I never seen it.
You never seen it?
Never seen it.
Even when you was doing your thing?
Never seen it.
So it was a little industry trick that even caught your eye.
Yeah, but see, like, I never saw
Oh my goodness, I got it on sound. I'm sorry.
I never saw like the taking note thing, but I did see like the invisible cues. You know, just a look here or a wave of the hands. I see that a lot, but
Really?
yeah, what? Hell yeah. There was a girl I used to work with. She knew how to sign, so she would teach. She would
Okay.
teach. She would teach some of the people like, hey, this means, or like even when it was like sorry, thank you, like little things. So that I saw. The note taking I never saw, which is crazy.
Well, I know at the restaurant they wrote majority of their notes in the back in the kitchen,
Mhm.
and then would just pass
Pass
them
them.
on the floor. So if they did it that way, I can understand why you probably would have never saw it. And then also, you doing your thing. You in the trenches. You don't got time to pay
I be
attention to
seeing
that.
everything.
Hmm?
I see everything.
No word.
I told you got to be able to see what's going on. I remember I told you I could hear when something's like wrong, which is probably why I'm getting older now. My hearing is getting a little spotty, but you got to be able. It's like you got a 360. You got to be able to see everything. Don't do you got to look at you and be like, yo, don't do that. I hear how you cutting something wrong, or get the water off the griddle.
Okay.
But it's just repetition.
Yeah.
So, Sydney.
So with her, it was a very up and down season for her
Mhm.
because when they finally said we're going to do this, everybody's in. And she had her moments very early when she would go around and talk to people in the industry she knew,
Mhm.
ask them their opinions, yada yada yada. Almost everybody she respected got burnt. In some form or fashion, they got burnt with the partner thing.
Mhm.
And it gave her cause to pause, like, is this really, am I doing the right thing? And
Not to cut you off. Not is she doing the right thing? Should I be doing business with Carmi?
that's what I meant
Oh yeah, okay.
by, is she doing the right thing? And then when Carmi and Claire started kicking it and his attention was elsewhere, he was absent, she couldn't get a hold of him. She really felt like she was doing it by herself. And then it was just, damn, it's just me and his sister.
Mhm.
And she harbored some real resentment towards him because it's like, you asked me to do this with you, and now I feel like I'm doing it by myself. And they had their little spat,
Mhm.
then they
Pieced it up.
pieced it up and everything else. But I knew at some point she was either going to explode on him or she was going to say to herself, this ain't worth it. You're not worth it. And I'm cool. But early in the season, when she went and she tried all that food
Yo,
and she was just eating and
inspir
eating and eating,
inspiration.
listen, I'm talking about, I'm sitting on the sofa, I'm salivating. I'm hungrier than a hostage. I said, I need to be doing what she's doing right now.
Yeah, listen, but see, that's another thing they took. Remember, I said, "Yo, mom and pops is where it's like. That's where you go if
Yeah.
you want a real food experience."
Yeah.
And she was going to these little niche places and talking to these different chefs and all different walks of life, colors. They just everybody looked different,
And all the food looked amazing.
and it was killing,
All the food looked amazing.
killing.
Every place she went. And unbeknownst to the average consumer per se, all those mom and pops, all those places that was highlighted in this show in this
Mhm.
season, I guarantee you, booming. They're going to be booming because there's going to be people in the city or there's going to be tourists that say, "Hey, look, I watched the bear. I want to
Oh yeah,
go where Sydney went."
yo, that's
It's equivalent. It's equivalent to almost being on diners, drive-ins, and dives.
yeah. It's like Tom Brown site probably crashed that
Yo,
day
yeah, probably
just because everybody like, well, what is that?
right.
So yeah, you send traffic. It's silent advertising.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the scene when she was in there in one spot. She was eating. They were having their meeting, and you saw her secretly sneaking, taking notes and everything else.
Hmm.
And it was like, okay, I see you.
So remember, she tried to poach.
Oh my
Listen, let me
goodness.
tell you, that happened to me. It happened to me one time. I was working at this hotel, and we needed staff bad.
You was trying to poach?
Yes.
Okay.
So it was a restaurant across the street. So I walked in the kitchen, handed out my card and walked out. And then the chef came and was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I was like, "Mind your fucking business." And then we took 2 of their people. It's a thing. It's a thing. It sucks and it's shitty, but it's a thing.
That's crazy.
I cracked up. I was like, "Damn, yo. All right."
She bitched up real quick.
She's like,
Nothing,
"Oh, nothing.
I'm out of here.
Go fuck yourself."
But you could tell she wasn't stealing their people. They was looking at her like, "This is what you doing right now?"
Cause they all knew it was like what was happening. And she tried to be, "Oh, there's this place." It's like,
Yeah.
just
Like you were so vague about it.
yeah,
Like we
sounded
know,
crazy.
we know. But
my-
so who we touching on now?
Man, probably like my favorite moments involve this person,
All right,
Marcus.
all right.
When Marcus made that Copenhagen Sunday, and you could just see the actor, they weren't acting. Whatever they made that they tasted, that was a real response.
Oh no, that was for sure real.
Carmi was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
And then Sydney was like, "What the fuck?"
yeah.
So his
I like the chef in Copenhagen
Mhm.
that took Marcus under his wing because he was gentle yet direct and blunt at the same time. It was like, listen, I'm not here to hurt your feelings, but I'm here to let you know that looks like shit.
Mhm.
Let's do it again.
Mhm.
But then when the wall between them kind of broke a little bit,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they allowed themselves to be personable, and they had a conversation, and they talked and everything else, and it was the human element
Mhm.
was put back in. It was like, all right, this is cool.
Bro, that's another thing I know they got from us. And I said, "Yo, I can't be personal with you until you know how to work."
Yeah,
So
that
it
was
was
cool.
and he was like, "What's dextrose?" So he started looking it up, and he's like, "Here's the recipe." So he's like, "Oh shit!" But like his growth, the chef part, he's been consistent. He's the most consistent person on the show. But his growth as a chef on the show, he went from fucking up the cake and not having that shit ready at all to running the line when Carmi got locked in the fridge. Now he got a little emotional with Shorty, but that cannoli, I don't even like cannolis, but he said Parmesan crust, and I was like, why I never thought of that?
Because you don't like cannolis, so you're not going to give 100% of yourself to that because you don't even bang with it like that.
Sorta. I don't eat pork. Well, I could. What?
That's different though, because pork is something that many people consume. Cannolis, that's hit or miss. You either like them or
No,
you don't.
Yeah, that's true.
There's
That's
no
true.
in between.
It's always the filling.
Well, pork, you can do a million things with pork.
That's true. For
So, I think that's it. But was there ever a cat on the boat?
No.
I didn't think so.
No.
Because he filled that water bowl up.
Nobody lived there. Why would there a cat be there? But I think that was a part of the joke.
He even said to himself, like, I really don't think it's a cat.
He was like, "Yo," when he called Sydney, he's like, "Yeah, I've been feeding an invisible cat."
Yeah.
So, but my funniest moment is when Marcus found homie smoking crack in the alley. He said, "Yo, listen, Sydney, I found Josh. He's smoking crack in the alley. Can I fire him?" She was like, "Yeah." Like, what?
And I knew something was going to happen like that because when Carmi said had take over Josh's station, or whatever, and Tina was like, I don't know where the fuck he is. I haven't seen him. And it's like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? What do I mean? I haven't seen him. He's gone.
That went complete. I did not expect it to go that way. I was expecting like maybe he got poached and it would be a full circle moment. Him smoking.
I'm not going to sit here and say that I saw him smoking crack.
Yeah.
No, I did not. But in my mind, it's y'all in the trenches and you just vanish.
Something had to
Something happened. You're somewhere doing something you shouldn't be doing. And when they found him smoking crack, I said, all right.
I cried laughing. Because I was like, because then you start thinking back, I'm like, they made a point to show how fast he was cutting. And then they all said something about it. Sound like they made a point to show that, because when you just prepping, you're not really like going hard.
You know,
He was wilding.
because my man was on that speedball.
Listen, get an espresso. I move like that when I drink coffee.
Okay.
On a regular, no, I'm not. No.
I don't know. That was crazy.
All in all, man, phenomenal, man.
At the end of the day, though, one more thing we forgot to touch on this person.
Who that?
The bank.
Cicero, Uncle Jay.
You see, towards the end, the moves that he's silently making himself, and he respectfully had the conversation with Carmi's sister in the car about, listen, the return that I'm going to get. Almost like he was speaking it into existence. Like in his mind, he knows this isn't going to work. And the fact that he broke it down, like, listen, like, this is it. Like, you have to be open in 10 days. We got to turn a profit. Y'all got to do this. Y'all got to do that. And if y'all don't, this is what's going to happen. And then he's talking to Carmi. He's giving him these little life lessons. He's dropping gems on him, blah, 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 blah. He does not want to be the bad guy, but he's perfectly okay with being the bad guy. And respectfully, he's just letting them know, listen,
you in a hole.
If it goes left, the way I think it's going to go left, when I do what I got to do, please don't look at me with the long face, because this is business.
Yo, listen,
Carmi, you never should have said 18 months.
Well, he kind of regretted it after, they had went home.
Immediately after he said
they
that
were
shit.
Bored. But it worked out. I mean, with his old uncle, well, they gave him like 10 different names in there. But Cicero, he was like, his whole thing was like, he really is the godfather to them all.
No, yeah.
Everybody needed him for something. And if it was either money or advice, warranted or unwarranted. And when the payout for somebody finally giving something back to him was the chocolate covered banana.
Right.
From the Fish's dinner. So I was like, who's Mr. Jablinowski? It was Richie. So I was like, oh shit, that's why that shit made sense. So it's like, we finally, hey, listen, thank you.
Right.
But good show.
He was ready to slap the shit out of Richie too when his baby mom thanked him for giving him a job.
Oh my God. He was like, hold on. What did I do? You shut the fuck up. What did I do? Right. She was like, you gave him a job?
Right. I was like, ooh.
Oh my goodness. Fucking Richie, man. Fucking Richie.
I mean, listen, he forced his way in the room, but he got in.
Yeah, listen.
He got in.
And it wasn't a move without him.
No, absolutely not. And again, that's why I say I think his growth in the show, to me, was the best version of people growing, because he had to, because everybody was at their wits' end with him. Every single person.
And then he went to a place where there's people more annoying than him, and realized, oh, you could be as shitty and annoying as you can be as long as you have purpose.
Right.
And
when he told him no more forks, and he put that suit on, I knew he tunnel vision for him.
He figured it out.
I knew he was in go mode.
He
asked the questions. He wanted to learn. He was doing X, Y, and Z. He didn't mess anything up, because I was just waiting for him to fuck something up.
But see, that's like an old school way to teach. Yeah, like I'll tell you this. Like I was at a French restaurant, and then they, small dice these mushrooms. He split them in half. He said, this half looks like shit. Make this half look like this half. And I had to do that for 4 days. Mushroom cutting and onion cutting and onion cutting.
Yeah, because they're either gonna break you or you're going to perfect it.
Yeah,
it's one or the other. There's no in between. And
then it worked out. Then I was on soups for that next week, and then okay, now you on the line. You prove you can hang. It teaches you, some level of professionalism.
No, yeah, absolutely. But absolutely it does. And then it was the part, oh my goodness, I was just thinking about it. Then you messed me up with soups.
Oh, my fault.
Boom, boom, boom. The forks, the suit, doing this thing in the restaurant.
He was
Yeah, I lost it. It'll come back to me at some point, hopefully. Yeah, but it's going.
But yeah, good show, man. Oh man, I might rewatch it for real, because it was phenomenal. Even though like my score is a 7, but like what a 10 out of 10 is, it definitely got potential. Season 3 could be a 10 out of 10.
Well, what was season 1 for you?
6.
Okay, only because it was brand new.
It was like the acting I had a problem with in the first season. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great.
Got you.
Carmi was really the only one that could act.
Okay, I got you. Everybody else was just kind of just there.
Yeah. And Richie was just ignorant. And, you know, we love ignorant shit.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That ain't hard to pull off. Like, so.
When they mixed the Adderall and the punch from season 1, and all the kids fell asleep, I think that's still my favorite part, yo.
Yeah, listen, I don't know. The boy smoking crack, that might have took the cake for me.
But y'all drugged a bunch of kids, though.
That's kind of wild to put on TV, but I guess that's why it's FX. FX slowly has become the network for good TV.
I agree.
Because Snowfall just ended, and that's on FX. Atlanta, that just ended a couple months ago. That was on FX. Now
that's the Jawn with Childish Gambino in it, right?
Yeah.
I never watched that.
You got to. You have to. You have to.
Yeah, I never watched it.
I'm telling you, you got to. Because if you like The Bear, it's the same. Just let the director, the person who one of the executive producers from The Bear, EPs, Atlanta. Okay. Hero Mirai. So shout out to him. He got his hands in like good shit.
Got you.
But yeah, man, that's gonna be it for this week, man.
Take a look at it. You know, it was a crazy recap. Nothing too crazy. But again, like we said, if you haven't watched it yet, please, like, you have no choice at this point. Just go and watch it.
And then
season 1 and 2
at FX at The Bear Force. Plug us in.
No, for sure.
So
also, we have a ton of audio. We are on platforms such as Spotify, Audible, Apple Music,
all the streaming services. We there. Go to our Patreon at the Food Jawn Podcast.
Yeah,
there's about to be a tier added, so tap in.
And as you can see, we're definitely doing our due diligence on our end to make sure that we continue to bring you guys great content, video now with the audio, and listen, just great food banner, just continuing to give you guys what we've been giving you guys from the beginning. So that's never going to change.
All right, man. Next week.
Same time,
same place.
Yep.
Love, peace, and chicken grease.
Peace.